The diamond on my finger caught the chandelier's light, but all I could focus on was Lloyd Fowler's condescending smirk from across the mahogany table. I'm Amelia, and this was supposed to be the dinner where Charlie's father finally accepted me into their world. Instead, it became the night I decided to burn that world down. So, Amelia, Lloyd's voice dripped with fake politeness, swirling his aged whiskey. Remind me again what your parents do for a living? Charlie squeezed my hand under the table. Dad, we've been through this. I'm just making conversation, son. Lloyd's eyes never left mine. After all, if she's joining the family, we should know everything about her background. I straightened my spine, the way my mother taught me. My mom's a high school teacher, and my father passed away when I was 12. Ah, yes, now I remember. Public school, wasn't it? He turned to his wife. Margaret, didn't your cousin's cleaning lady's daughter teach at a public school? Charlie's fork clattered against his plate. That's enough. What? I'm simply pointing out that Amelia comes from different circumstances. Lloyd dabbed his mouth with a napkin that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Charlie, son, you're set to inherit a Fortune 500 company. Have you considered what that means? The responsibilities? The social obligations? I love her, Charlie said firmly. That's all that matters. Lloyd laughed, the sound hollow and cruel. Love doesn't maintain social standing, boy. Love doesn't secure business deals at country clubs. My cheeks burned, but I refused to look down. I may not have been born into wealth, Mr. Fowler, but I have other qualities. Oh, like what, dear? Your charming personality? He leaned forward. Let me be frank. You seem like a lovely girl, but you're simply not Fowler material. Our family has a legacy to protect. Dad! Charlie stood up, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You can't talk to her like that. I placed my hand on Charlie's arm. It's okay. My voice was steady, despite the hurricane in my chest. Your father's entitled to his opinion. Lloyd raised his glass in mock salute. See? At least she knows her place. That's when something inside me snapped. I rose slowly, placing my napkin on the table with deliberate care. You're right about one thing, Mr. Fowler. I'm not Fowler material. I'm better. And one day, very soon, you'll regret underestimating me. Is that a threat? His amusement only fueled my determination. No, it's a promise. I turned to Charlie. I'll wait in the car. As I walked out, head high, I heard Lloyd's voice. Son, you can't seriously be considering marrying someone so beneath us. In the car, Charlie found me 10 minutes later. He slid into the driver's seat, his face flushed with anger. I'm so sorry, Amelia. He had no right. Do you agree with him? The question hung between us like smoke. Of course not. He took my hand. You're brilliant, kind, ambitious, but not good enough for the Fowler name? You're more than good enough. He kissed my knuckles. We'll prove him wrong together. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. Together. If only he knew what was already forming in my mind. The seed of an idea that would grow into an empire. I'd been working on a business concept, an ethical fashion platform that could revolutionize the industry. Now, it wasn't just a dream anymore. It was my weapon. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Caitlin. How'd it go with Papa Fowler? I typed back, time to launch the platform. You in? Her response was immediate. Hell yes, revenge is best served with a side of success. Charlie started the car, the engine purring like the wealth it represented. Want to grab some ice cream? Try to salvage the night? Actually, can you drop me at home? I have some work to do. He looked concerned. Don't let him get to you, babe. His opinion doesn't matter. But it did matter. Every dismissive glance, every condescending remark. They all mattered. They would fuel me through the sleepless nights ahead, through the rejection letters and setbacks, through every obstacle until I could stand in front of Lloyd Fowler again, this time as his equal, or better yet, his superior. As we drove through the city, past the gleaming skyscrapers that housed empires like the one Lloyd commanded, I made a silent vow. The next time I sat at that table, it wouldn't be as the poor teacher's daughter he could dismiss with a wave of his manicured hand. It would be as someone who had built something of her own, something that would make his precious legacy look like child's play. Game on, Lloyd. Game on. You want to take on the entire fast fashion industry? Caitlin sprawled across my tiny apartment's couch, raising an eyebrow. Girl, I love your ambition, but that's like trying to fight a tank with a water pistol. I paced the room, gesturing at my laptop screen. Look at these numbers. 70% of millennials say they'd pay more for sustainable fashion. The market is there. We just need to make it accessible. And stick it to Daddy Dearest in the process? She grinned. That's just a bonus. I pulled up my presentation. The platform connects ethical manufacturers directly with consumers. No middlemen, no exploitation, complete transparency about working conditions and materials. My phone buzzed. Another text from Charlie. I ignored it, just like the previous 5. You can't avoid him forever, Caitlin said softly. I'm not avoiding him. I'm focusing. A knock at the door interrupted us. I opened it to find Bowen, my former business professor turned mentor, holding 2 cups of coffee. You sounded excited on the phone, he said, handing me a cup. Show me what you've got. For the next hour, I walked them through my vision, the website mock-ups, the marketing strategy, the financial projections. Bowen asked tough questions, making notes while Caitlin chimed in with social media ideas. It's good, Bowen said finally. Really good, but you'll need serious funding. I've got some savings. He shook his head. We're talking millions, Amelia. This isn't a small startup. You're trying to disrupt an established industry. I know someone. Caitlin sat up straight. Remember Marcus from college? He's working for Summit Ventures now. I could set up a meeting. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was my mother. Honey, Charlie called me. He's worried about you. I'm fine, Mom. Just busy with a new project. Is this about what happened at dinner? Grace told me you haven't returned her calls either. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Mom, I can't talk right now. I'm in a meeting. Don't let pride cloud your judgment, sweetheart. Some things are more important than... I have to go. Love you. I hung up, turning back to find both Caitlin and Bowen watching me. What? I challenged. Nothing. Bowen raised his hands in surrender. But remember, the best revenge isn't just success, it's sustainable success. Don't burn bridges you might need later. My laptop pinged. An email from Summit Ventures. My heart raced as I opened it. Dear Ms. Fox, thank you for your interest. After reviewing your proposal, we would like to schedule a meeting. Yes, I jumped up, pulling Caitlin into a hug. They want to meet. When? Bowen leaned forward. Next Thursday at 2 p.m. Perfect, he nodded. We'll prep over the weekend. You'll need solid answers about scalability, market penetration. Another knock. This time, it was Charlie. Hey, he said, looking tired. Can we talk? I glanced at Caitlin and Bowen. They took the hint, gathering their things. Call me later, Caitlin whispered, squeezing my arm as she left. Once we were alone, Charlie sat heavily on the couch. You're really doing this, aren't you? Doing what? This. He gestured at my laptop. The papers spread across the coffee table. Going to war with my father. I'm starting a business, Charlie. A legitimate, potentially world-changing business. That just happens to be exactly what would upset him most? He ran a hand through his hair. I know he was awful to you, but what? I should just accept it? Play the humble, grateful girlfriend? No, I just. He stood up, pacing. I don't want this to change you. Change us. I softened, taking his hand. It won't. This is still me, just me fighting for what I deserve. Promise me something? His eyes met mine. Promise you won't lose yourself in this revenge plot. It's not about revenge, I lied. It's about proving something to myself. He pulled me close, and I buried my face in his chest, breathing in his familiar scent. But even as he held me, my mind was racing with pitch ideas, market strategies, ways to make my platform impossible for Lloyd to ignore. My phone lit up with a text from Bowen. Got you a meeting with Soleil Elliott tomorrow. She's tough but could be a game changer. I smiled against Charlie's shirt. Soleil was known for taking down giants in the industry. Having her on board would be like adding gasoline to my fire. What are you thinking about? Charlie asked. The future, I replied. And I was, just maybe not the future he imagined. The game was officially in play, and I was holding all the right cards. Lloyd Fowler wouldn't know what hit him. Unfortunately, we'll have to pass. The Summit Ventures executive closed his laptop with a decisive click. Your concept is interesting, but you lack the experience we're looking for. My carefully rehearsed pitch turned to ash in my mouth. After 3 sleepless nights preparing, this wasn't how the meeting was supposed to end. I understand your concerns. I leaned forward, but the market research clearly shows. Ms. Fox, he interrupted, passion isn't enough. Come back when you have more industry experience. The elevator ride down felt like a funeral procession. My phone buzzed. Caitlin checking in. Before I could respond, another call came through. My day job's office number. Amelia, where are you? My manager's voice was tight. The client presentation started 15 minutes ago. My stomach dropped. Sarah, I'm so sorry. There was an emergency. This is the 3rd time this month. We need to talk when you get back. The call ended with a click. I slumped against the elevator wall, my reflection showing dark circles under my eyes that even concealer couldn't hide. Back at my desk, Sarah's talk was brief and brutal. Consider this your final warning. One more missed meeting, and we'll have to let you go. That night, I sat cross-legged on my apartment floor, surrounded by takeout containers and spreadsheets. My laptop screen blurred as exhaustion set in. A knock startled me. Charlie stood in the doorway, holding grocery bags. When's the last time you ate something that didn't come in a cardboard box? He started unpacking fresh vegetables. I had a salad. Yesterday. Maybe. I rubbed my eyes. What are you doing here? Being your fiancé, he began chopping tomatoes. You missed dinner with my sister last night. That was last night? I checked my phone. 6 missed calls from various family members. I'll make it up to her. Like you made up missing Mom's birthday last week? He set down the knife. What happened to the meeting today? They passed. My voice cracked. Said I needed more experience. Charlie wrapped his arms around me from behind. Then we'll find another investor. But you need to take care of yourself first. I can't slow down. Not now. I pulled away, checking my email for the 100th time. Amelia. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Amelia Fox? A woman's crisp voice asked. This is Soleil Elliott. My heart jumped. Yes, this is she. I heard about your meeting with Summit. Their loss. I'm interested in your platform. Charlie watched as I paced the kitchen. Really? I mean, yes, I'd love to discuss it. Dinner tomorrow, 7 p.m. at La Maison. She named one of the city's most exclusive restaurants. Don't be late. The line went dead. I turned to Charlie, grinning. Soleil Elliott wants to meet. The same Soleil Elliott known for hostile takeovers? The same one who turned three failing companies into billion-dollar enterprises. I was already mentally planning my outfit. Just be careful. He resumed chopping vegetables. She has a reputation. For success, I countered, which is exactly what I need. My phone buzzed again. My mother. Honey, we need to talk about the wedding plans. The venue needs a deposit by Friday. I glanced at the engagement ring on my finger. When was the last time I'd even thought about wedding planning? Can we discuss this later, Mom? I have a big meeting tomorrow. That's what you said last week and the week before. She sighed. Grace says you haven't even looked at the flower arrangements she sent. I'll call you back. I hung up, turning to find Charlie staring at me. You haven't looked at the flowers? I've been busy. Too busy for our wedding? Before I could answer, my laptop pinged. An email from Bowen. Got the market analysis you needed, but we need to talk about your burnout rate. I have to respond to this, I told Charlie. He set down the spatula. The food's ready. Will you at least eat with me? I nodded, but my fingers were already typing. The pasta grew cold as I drafted my response, ran numbers, and prepared for tomorrow's meeting. Charlie left around midnight, kissing my forehead with a worried look. Don't stay up too late. But at 3 a.m., I was still at my desk, researching everything about Soleil Elliott, her investments, her strategies, her weaknesses. The sun was rising when I finally crawled into bed. My phone lit up one last time. A text from Caitlin. Heard about Summit, their loss. But girl, when's the last time you slept? I ignored it, setting my alarm for 2 hours later. Sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. Not when I was this close to my breakthrough. Besides, I thought as exhaustion pulled me under. Lloyd Fowler probably wasn't losing any sleep over me. Yet, Soleil Elliott didn't shake hands. She assessed me over the rim of her wine glass, her dark eyes calculating. You're younger than I expected. Is that a problem? I settled into my chair at La Maison, grateful I'd splurged on a new blazer. Age is irrelevant. Results matter. She set down her glass. Tell me why Lloyd Fowler's future daughter-in-law wants to disrupt the fashion industry. My fingers tightened around my water glass. You've done your research. I don't waste time with people I haven't vetted. She smiled, all teeth. The question is, are you doing this for the right reasons? Does it matter if the platform succeeds? It matters if you're going to crack under pressure. She leaned forward. This industry will eat you alive if you're running on spite alone. The waiter appeared. Soleil ordered in perfect French without glancing at the menu. I scrambled to follow suit. Here's what I see, she continued after he left. A brilliant concept with massive potential, but also a woman so focused on proving something, she's burning every bridge behind her. I'm not. You missed your own mother's birthday, postponed wedding planning, nearly lost your day job. She raised an eyebrow. Am I wrong? Heat crept up my neck. How do you know all this? Like I said, I vet thoroughly. She pulled out her phone, showing me a screen full of numbers. Your platform could revolutionize ethical fashion, but revenge is a terrible business model. This isn't about revenge. Lie to yourself if you must. Don't lie to me. She set down her phone. I'm offering you $5 million in seed funding. My heart stopped. What's the catch? Smart girl, she smiled again. You get my experience, connections, and money. I get 51% ownership. That's more than half the company. That's protection from yourself. She took another sip of wine. You need someone who can separate business from personal vendettas. Before I could respond, I spotted a familiar figure across the restaurant. Lloyd Fowler was dining with what looked like business associates. Soleil followed my gaze. Interesting. Did you know he'd be here? No, Then this is your first test. What do you do now? I watched Lloyd laugh, probably at another cruel joke at someone else's expense. My hands itched to walk over there, to show him the term sheet Soleil was offering. Nothing, I said finally. This isn't the time or place. Good answer. She pulled out a contract. Let's discuss terms. 2 hours later, I stepped out into the cool night air, my head spinning with possibilities. My phone had 17 missed calls, 3 from Charlie, 5 from my mother, the rest from Caitlin. I called Caitlin first. Finally, she answered, your mom's freaking out. She showed up at my place looking for you. What? Why? The wedding venue? They needed the deposit today. Charlie's been trying to reach you. My stomach dropped. That was today? Girl, you need to get your priorities straight. Charlie's at your place waiting. I found him sitting on my doorstep, looking defeated. I lost the venue, he said quietly. We'll find another one. Will we? When? He stood up. You've missed every appointment, every tasting, every decision. I just secured $5 million in funding, I said, hoping to change the subject. Soleil Elliott is investing. Congratulations. His voice was flat. Did you tell her about your real motivation? What's that supposed to mean? You know exactly what it means. He ran a hand through his hair. You're so focused on proving yourself to my father, you've forgotten about everyone else who loves you. That's not fair. No? When's the last time you called your mom? Really talked to her? He stepped closer. When's the last time we had a conversation that wasn't about your platform or my father? My phone buzzed. Soleil sending over the final contract. I need to review this, I said, already opening the email. Charlie's laugh was hollow. Of course you do. He walked past me. Let me know when my fiancé comes back. I watched him leave, the contract glowing on my phone screen. A text from my mother followed. Family dinner tomorrow. Non-negotiable. We need to talk. Another message popped up from Soleil. Remember what I said about burning bridges? Some fires can't be put out. I looked at the engagement ring on my finger, then at the contract that could change everything. Success was within reach, but Charlie was right. At what cost? The answer would have to wait. I had a contract to review and a family dinner to survive, one crisis at a time. Rising star disrupts fashion industry. The headline blazed across my screen as Caitlin squealed, hugging me from behind. You're trending. She scrolled through the comments. The sustainable fashion community is going crazy over the platform launch. I should have been ecstatic. Instead, I stared at my engagement ring, now sitting in its box on my desk. Charlie had left it there this morning, along with a note. Taking some time to think. Call when you're ready to talk about us, not business. My phone rang. Soleil. Have you seen the numbers? She didn't wait for my answer. 10,000 signups in the first hour. Major brands are reaching out for partnerships. That's amazing. Why do you sound like someone died? A pause. Ah, the fiancé left. How did you? Your social media manager messaged me. She's worried about your emotional state affecting the brand. I spun around. Caitlin. She shrugged, unrepentant. Someone had to say something. Both of you need to stay out of my personal life. Your personal life affects my investment. Soleil's voice sharpened. Fix it before the gala next week. We need you focused. The line went dead. Caitlin perched on my desk, face serious. She's right, you know. You're not sleeping, barely eating. Charlie's gone. Your mom's worried sick. I'm fine. I stood up, pacing. The platform is exceeding all projections. That's what matters. Is it? She picked up the engagement ring box. Because the Amelia I know wouldn't think success was worth losing Charlie. Before I could respond, Bowen burst in. We have a problem. He pulled up an email on his tablet. Someone's trying to sabotage the supply chain. 3 manufacturers just pulled out. My blood ran cold. Who? Anonymous pressure, but... He hesitated. The tactics match Lloyd's previous business dealings. Of course, I should have expected this. He's trying to kill the platform before it really takes off. That's not all. Bowen scrolled down. There's rumors circulating about unethical practices in our partner factories. All false, but damage control will take time we don't have. I finished. My phone buzzed. My mother again. I ignored it. Amelia, Caitlin's voice was gentle. You need to talk to Charlie. His father might back off if. No. I grabbed my laptop. I'm not using Charlie to fight this battle. We'll find new manufacturers, better ones. There's something else, Bowen said quietly. The gala next week, Lloyd's being honored for lifetime achievement in business. Laughter bubbled up, slightly hysterical. Perfect, just perfect. My phone kept buzzing. This time, it was Grace. Mom, I can't talk right now. Your sister's in the hospital. The world stopped. What? Anxiety attack. She's been trying to reach you for days about the wedding catering. Her voice cracked. The doctors say stress triggered it. I'll be right there. I grabbed my coat. Don't bother. The ice in her voice froze me mid-motion. You're too busy changing the world to care about family, remember? She hung up. I stood there, coat half on, as the room spun. Sit down. Caitlin guided me to a chair. Breathe. I did this. My voice shook. I was so focused on proving Lloyd wrong. I didn't see. It's not too late. She squeezed my shoulder. But you need to decide what matters more, revenge or the people who love you. My laptop pinged with another alert. Platform users double overnight. Revolutionary business model attracts global attention. Bowen cleared his throat. The manufacturers need an answer by morning. And Soleil wants a strategy for the gala, Caitlin added. I looked at the engagement ring, then at the headlines praising my success. The platform was everything I'd dreamed of, but the cost. My phone lit up with a text from Charlie. Dad's bragging about destroying your supply chain. Please tell me you're not letting him win. Another text followed. I still love you, but I miss the Amelia who wanted to change the world for the right reasons. Tears blurred my vision as notifications kept flooding in. Praise, partnership offers, media requests. Everything I'd worked for was happening. So why did victory taste like ashes? What do you want me to tell Soleil? Bowen asked softly. I picked up the engagement ring, its diamond catching the light just like that night at Lloyd's dinner. Tell her. I took a deep breath. Tell her I need an hour. I have to visit someone in the hospital first. Caitlin smiled. Now that sounds like the old Amelia. But as I grabbed my keys, another email arrived. Urgent. Major investor threatens withdrawal over ethics concerns. The war with Lloyd was escalating. The question was, how many more casualties would there be before it ended? Your sister's asking for you. Mom's voice stopped me in the hospital hallway. Try not to upset her this time. Grace lay in the hospital bed, looking smaller than I remembered. Her eyes fixed on me as I entered. Look who finally showed up. She managed a weak smile. I'm so sorry. I sat beside her, taking her hand. I've been busy. Yeah, I read about you in Tech Weekly. She squeezed my fingers. Dad would have been proud and worried. Grace, remember what he used to say? Success means nothing if you're too busy to enjoy Sunday dinner. She tried to sit up, wincing. When's the last time you had Sunday dinner, Amelia? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Soleil. Take it, Grace said. It's probably important. I declined the call. Nothing's more important right now. That's new. Mom appeared with coffee. Usually your precious platform takes priority. Margaret, Grace warned. No, she needs to hear this. Mom set down the cups harder than necessary. Your sister's been planning your wedding for months. Alone? Charlie's been making excuses for you. Alone. And where have you been? Building a successful company. Building walls, she corrected, just like after your father died, throwing yourself into work instead of dealing with feelings. My phone buzzed again. Bowen this time. I ignored it. The platform's doing well, I said quietly. Really well. And, Mom crossed her arms, and I'm miserable. The admission hung in the air. I'm winning, but I'm losing everything that matters. Grace patted the bed beside her. I sat, letting her rest her head on my shoulder like when we were kids. Charlie came by yesterday, she said softly. My heart stopped. What? He wanted to know if you were okay. Said he's worried you're becoming exactly what you're fighting against. My phone lit up with breaking news. Lloyd Fowler accused of unethical business practices. Anonymous source reveals documents. That wasn't me, I whispered. Grace took my phone, reading. No, but it could have been. That's what scares him. And us, Mom added. A text from Soleil flashed. Emergency meeting. Now. Your office. Go, Grace said. But remember what you just said about what matters. I kissed her forehead and rushed to the office, finding Soleil pacing while Bowen and Caitlin watched nervously. Someone leaked documents about Lloyd's sweatshop connections, Soleil said without preamble. The press thinks it was us. It wasn't. Doesn't matter. He's threatening to sue for defamation. She thrust a paper at me. And he's calling in favors to tank our stock before it goes public. Can he do that? He already is. Bowen pulled up financial projections. We're hemorrhaging investors. My phone rang. Charlie. Did you do this? His voice was tight. No, Charlie, I swear. Dad's on the warpath. He thinks you're behind the leak. I'm not. A pause. I believe you. But Amelia, this has to stop. Someone's going to get really hurt. I know. I looked at the engagement ring box on my desk. Can we talk? In person? The gala's tomorrow. Dad's accepting his award. Another pause. Meet me there? Charlie, it's time to end this, one way or another. He hung up. Soleil was watching me, her expression unreadable. The gala's our chance, she said. We can announce our IPO, show Lloyd he can't touch us. Or, Caitlin interjected, you could try talking to him, like an actual human being. He doesn't deserve. This isn't about what he deserves. Bowen cut in. It's about who you want to be. My phone buzzed with a text from Grace. Choose love over pride, sis. Dad always said pride makes good fuel but terrible foundation. I looked at my team, Soleil ready for war, Caitlin concerned, Bowen waiting patiently. The gala, I said finally, but not for revenge. We need to end this. How? Soleil demanded. I picked up the engagement ring. By remembering why I started this in the first place, not to destroy Lloyd, but to prove something to myself. And Charlie? Caitlin asked softly. And Charlie. I slipped the ring back on. Some things are worth more than winning. Soleil sighed dramatically. Just tell me you're not going to tank my investment with some grand gesture of reconciliation. No, I smiled. But I am going to show Lloyd what real success looks like. Not by tearing him down, but by rising above. My phone lit up one last time. Mom, Sunday dinner this week, non-negotiable. Bring Charlie. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. First, I told my team, we have a gala to prepare for, and I need to make some things right. The war wasn't over, but maybe it was time for a different kind of victory. The gala ballroom sparkled with wealth and influence, but my eyes were fixed on Charlie standing by the bar. He looked up, our gazes meeting across the room. Ready? Caitlin adjusted my dress, a sustainable silk creation from our platform's top designer. As I'll ever be. I clutched my speech cards. Soleil appeared, sleek in black. Lloyd's about to take the stage. Sure you want to do this? Before I could answer, the microphone crackled. Lloyd stood at the podium, commanding the room with practiced ease. Business, his voice boomed, is about legacy, about building something that lasts. Charlie moved closer to the stage. I weaved through the crowd until I stood beside him. "Hi," I whispered. He took my hand without looking at me. "Dad rehearsed this speech for weeks." "For 30 years," Lloyd continued, "I've built an empire based on tradition, on maintaining the status quo." The doors burst open. All heads turned as Grace wheeled herself in, Mom pushing her chair. "Sorry, we're late," Grace announced loudly. "Hospital discharge took forever." Lloyd faltered. "As I was saying," my phone buzzed. A message from Bowen. "Breaking news ready to go live. Give the signal." Some would say, Lloyd regained his momentum, that the old ways are the best ways. That disruption threatens everything we've built. "Now," I texted back. Every phone in the room chimed simultaneously. I watched as hundreds of faces looked down at their screens. Ethical fashion platform secures major global partnership. Industry giants join revolutionary movement. Lloyd's voice died as he read the headline. His eyes found me in the crowd. "Mr. Fowler," I called out, my voice steady. "May I say something?" The room held its breath. Charlie squeezed my hand. "The stage is yours," Lloyd said tightly. I walked up, heart pounding but spine straight. "You spoke about legacy, about tradition, but true legacy isn't about maintaining the status quo. It's about making the world better than we found it." Phones kept buzzing as more news broke. Major brands pledging to our ethical standards, celebrity endorsements, stock prices soaring. "When you rejected me as your son's fiancé," I continued, "you said I wasn't good enough for the Fowler name. You were right." Lloyd's face darkened. "I'm not good enough for the Fowler name. I'm better. Not because of money or success, but because I chose to build rather than destroy, to lift people up rather than tear them down." Grace wheeled closer, smiling through tears. "Our platform isn't just disrupting fashion, it's changing lives. Factory workers receiving fair wages, sustainable practices saving environments, communities thriving." I turned to face Lloyd directly. "You taught Charlie that business is about power, but he taught me that true power comes from using success to help others." The room erupted in applause. Lloyd stood frozen, his carefully crafted speech forgotten. "One more thing," I said, turning to Charlie. "I've been so focused on proving myself, I almost lost the person who believed in me from the start." I walked down the steps, taking both his hands in mine. "Charlie Fowler, will you marry me? Not for your name or your father's approval, but because I love you?" The room went silent. Lloyd stepped forward, opening his mouth. "Yes," Charlie said firmly. "1,000 times yes." More applause. Grace cheered. Mom wiped her eyes. Lloyd cleared his throat. "Well played, Amelia. This isn't about playing games anymore." I met his gaze. "It's about family, real family. You're welcome to be part of it if you can accept that your son chose love over legacy." A long moment passed. Then Lloyd did something I'd never seen before. He laughed, really laughed. "You know," he said, shaking his head, "you remind me of someone." "Who?" "Me, 30 years ago." He looked at Charlie. "Before I forgot what really matters." Soleil appeared with champagne. "To new beginnings?" "To family," Mom corrected, wheeling Grace closer. "To both," Charlie said, pulling me close. My phone buzzed one last time. Bowen. "Stock just tripled. Congratulations, boss." But I was already putting my phone away. Grace was right. Some moments were too important for business. "Sunday dinner," I said to Lloyd. "Our place. No business talk allowed." He hesitated, then nodded. "I'll bring the wine." As the party swirled around us, Charlie whispered, "Was it worth it, all of this?" I looked at my family, old and new, broken and healing, at my team celebrating our success, at Lloyd attempting to help Mom navigate Grace's wheelchair. Yes, I said, but not for the reasons I thought. The platform would change the world. But tonight wasn't about that. Tonight was about something bigger than success or revenge. It was about coming home. "You're burning the potatoes," Mom called from the living room. "I've got it." I rescued the pan just in time, the familiar chaos of Sunday dinner swirling around me. Grace sat at the kitchen island folding napkins. "Remember when you couldn't even boil water?" "That was before Charlie taught me." I winked at my husband, who was expertly carving the roast. "Speaking of teaching," Lloyd entered carrying wine. "How's the mentorship program going?" The program had been his idea, using our platform to help young entrepreneurs from underprivileged backgrounds. His way of making amends, though he'd never say it outright. 20 new students starting next week," I said. "Soleil's handling the interviews." "No shop talk at dinner," Mom reminded us, setting down a salad bowl. "House rules." The doorbell rang. Caitlin burst in with Bowen, carrying dessert. "Sorry, we're late," she announced. "Someone insisted on checking the quarterly reports one last time." "It's called being thorough," Bowen defended. Charlie laughed. "Some things never change." As we gathered around the table, I watched my family, the one I was born into and the one I'd built. Grace discussing her physical therapy progress with Lloyd, Mom showing Caitlin her new gardening photos, Bowen and Charlie debating soccer teams. "Pass the potatoes," Lloyd said, then added quietly, "They're not burned this time." "High praise from you," I teased. His expression softened. "I was wrong about you, Amelia, about a lot of things." We were both wrong about what mattered. The conversation flowed easily now, nothing like those tense early dinners when we were all still healing. Grace had recovered fully. The platform was thriving. Even Lloyd had changed, though he still couldn't resist checking stock prices under the table. "Put the phone away, Dad." Charlie caught him. "Just one quick—" "Nope." I reached over and confiscated it. "Tonight's about family." Speaking of family, Grace's eyes twinkled. "When are you two giving Mom some grandkids?" Charlie choked on his wine. I laughed, remembering a time when such questions would have sparked tension. "We're practicing," I winked, making Lloyd suddenly very interested in his potatoes. "Before babies," Caitlin interrupted, "we need to discuss the real crisis. Your office plants are dying." "They are not." "Amelia," Mom sighed, "even your father could keep plants alive, and he killed plastic flowers." The table erupted in laughter, sharing stories about Dad that no longer hurt to tell. "He would have loved this," Grace said softly. "The dinner or the success?" Lloyd asked. "Both," Mom answered, "but mostly seeing his daughters happy." Charlie squeezed my hand under the table. We shared a look, the kind that held entire conversations. "Actually," I said, "we do have an announcement." The table went quiet. Even Lloyd set down his fork. "The platform's expanding," Charlie started. "I thought no business talk," Mom began. "Into a foundation," I finished, "for supporting working mothers in the fashion industry. We're naming it after Dad." Grace's eyes welled up. Mom covered her mouth. "That's—" Lloyd cleared his throat. "That's remarkable." "We want all of you involved," Charlie said, "each bringing your strengths." "Even me?" Lloyd asked, surprising vulnerability in his voice. "Especially you," I said. "You taught me something important. Success means nothing if you're not lifting others up." "Look who's getting soft," Caitlin teased, but she was wiping her eyes too. "To new beginnings," Bowen raised his glass. "And old wisdom," Mom added. "And family," Grace finished. As glasses clinked, I looked around the table. The ring on my finger caught the light, not as a symbol of status anymore, but of love. The platform had changed the industry, yes, but this had changed me. Dessert time, Caitlin announced, breaking the moment. Wait, Lloyd stood up. I have something to say. We all held our breath, old habits dying hard. I spent years building walls to protect what I thought mattered, he said. Amelia, you built bridges instead. Thank you for showing this old man a better way. Dad, Charlie started. I'm not finished, Lloyd smiled. Pass the cake, and someone give me back my phone. I promise, no stock checking. Nice try, I laughed, pocketing it. As dessert was served and stories continued, I caught Charlie's eye again. He nodded slightly. He felt it too. This was what winning really looked like, not in headlines or stock prices, but in moments like these. The revenge I'd sought had transformed into something better. Redemption. For all of us. More wine? Lloyd offered. Always, I smiled, holding out my glass. Some bridges, it turned out, were built one Sunday dinner at a time.